Good morning. This is the crypto day morning for today's date, Sunday, 21st of October 2018. I'd like to welcome you all trades, bets, and of the like within one's own risk reward. For myself, risk reward management, always job number one. Continuation amongst Bitcoin within low volatility. Today's session in at around a bit over 1%. Differential yesterday. Not too much here, about 1% again, and it's the same the day before that. We're taking a look at the direction of movement. We can see over the first few days, there's 6 in total. The first 4, it's been a downtrend with lower lows, lower highs, and then over yesterday and today, higher highs, higher lows. As you can't see it too well, but there we are. 1 hour is where you see it very well. There's a low here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. If, of course, that is going to be that of the low, and then of course the next test would be breaking out above this point. We scroll this even further on the 60-minute time frame. It's been in this sideways range, putting a couple lines. This level of resistance has obviously not been taken out, tested 2 moments later, quickly thereafter, not since, although close, at 9 p.m. yesterday night. As far as support's concerned, this first level of support in here, drawing a line right on its low, has been the support within this range. Of course, support has been tested more often. The resistance that has been tested quite frequently is the original levels right in here. That, of course, has been tested more often. But the whole basis of this, sideways consolidation, long-term lower highs matching lows, and overall, until the indecision comes to an end, it's going to stay in that type of movement. So with the price in at 64.37 amongst the Bitstamp and Coinbase exchange, it's 66.25 amongst the Bitfinex. The differential there is about 11, less than 300, so about 290, a little under that. That's or 190 rather, excuse me, because the differential 66 to 64. Yeah, so about 3% is the differential. If we take a look at this using the TUSD to the United States dollar tether on the single hour time frame, anyone, and I could have been one of those, I was not taking the chance though, who decided I want to turn my true US dollar into tether, were able to get a small gain on their dollar because they can sell now for much better prices. As the scare amongst Bitfinex came into place, we can see here how the price just rose quickly and has been in a decent continued downtrend. Just came down to like 2.1%. Now a differential of 2.88%. And it's the start of this move, so I'm still going to be continuing to watch how this comes into play. It's still well above par at, of course, the 2.8% mark, but I'm curious to see how this goes because there's going to be big moves both up and down for a lot of these coins moving forward. Let's now switch over to some altcoins. We'll start with Golem, GNT ticker symbol. And amongst its 3-day time frame from its April Fool's high, going from about 9,000 down to under 2,000, currently in at 25 and a third. 18 average, like a water slide ride down. And then the water slide's coming to an end as it's been going sideways. Now it's established some resistance. Let's look at this on different time frames. A daily time frame, interesting situation in here. We'll most certainly put some lines in place. We got this level of resistance that kind of coincides back in here. It matches this level here. And really you can put it as a square box from about 26.92 up to about 28 low change, 28.10. What's the 2800 even rather, as what it needs to get the breakout above. But since this last move at this resistance point, several days consolidating within the 18, the previous 3 before today, showing strength or consolidating amongst the 18 average of highs after a decent green day that preceded such, and breaking past the resistance from October 18th amongst today's session. Looking at such on a 3-hour time frame, when the moves happen, they can happen fast. Things of note amongst the crypto market, well, there's a fast move here, but the opportunities, just by looking back in here, October the 10th at 8 p.m., the price goes up to 2630, then it falls to 2300. It's a little over 10% decline. So then it goes from 2300 near the 2700 mark. So that's better than a 10% rise. And then near 27, again down to about 23. So better than a 10% loss. So lots of opportunities to gain or lose amongst trading within these types of markets. So a lot of beautiful choppy action up and down some of these codes will have. But since this move higher, if there's going to be a retracement, I'd like to see it hold within the 18 somewhere, maybe around this resistance point at about 24.66. But it's got the potential for big gains, because if it's going to fill some of this empty space, there's a lot it would need to fill. Moving next to Loom, which has been in an uptrend since the September 12 lows, making patterns of higher highs and higher lows. Of course, well below the highs as recently shown. And since this last previous high at the 421 mark, the price has taken a few days to come back down this 18. It has done so over about 5 or 6 of them. Today's session has made a move up to the 18 average of highs, barely getting above it, but that's where it is in at right now. And if it's able to get above this, then that would be pretty cool. Now, interesting, the volume today is a little bit bigger than this, so if it can sustain even a little bit bigger up to, well, where the 1,000 number happens to be here, but just maybe matching the volume from October the 6th even, that would get me interested to see how much further this could move to the upside. Taking a look at this, say, on a 3-hour chart. There's the move that happened yesterday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. 2 red candles down, but making the higher low back to this previous level of resistance. And now a couple of green candles starting to fade its way or make its move from the upside, as it did come close to the 18 highs. So definite potential getting above this level of resistance here at 2078, that maybe it can make a move up to this previous high quickly, even at 24. Switching next to Komodo, which has been very choppy recently, and I've been liking that. How you've had moves like this, which was nice, and then being able to buy here, sell in here, buy back here, sell here, buy down here, sell up here, and even a little bit on the short term, although trade the trades for the last few days for me has most certainly been lower, as the price action over the last few days has been, well, I mean, yesterday's session, you look at a low of 1832, a high of 2049, that's a differential of 217 points. 183 is 10% of volatility. So you're looking at like 12% volatility in just this day alone. That's not bad. It makes it easier for day trading to get plays in. But as far as the chart analysis is concerned amongst such, we can see that since this rally from below the 18 lows has managed to get decently above the highs, as it propelled above such on October 15th, and it kept having some nice up moves. The last few days, it's been 4 now since that high, but has come down yesterday to the 18 average of lows. Has rallied nicely since that point. And We can see all these levels of resistance here and at about the 22,000 mark up to even again between 24,000 and 25,500 as some key areas. And for now, any break of this, that's what I'll be expecting it to go, probably make a move around the 24, 25 area. And then it will see now what question mark situation, because usually resistance, but if not, continuation and usually pretty fast, aggressive moves. And the next key level after that would be in at about 33,000. Like always with any of these moves, if you see weakness after it makes this established play amongst the 18 average of lows, then that is telling you the potential for the failed breakdown. And the key word is potential, because the last couple times even, this showed weakness amongst the 18 average of lows was here. And it only had a small leg lower, although it did have one. And here. And it didn't even have a leg lower on that setup. So even based on that, it's in this range bound market that it's got to break it to one side or another. And right now it's looking pretty favorable that it might want to break it to the upside. Continuing now with QTUM, and I'm going to cross it against Binance Coin, but you can get similar results amongst that of Bitcoin as well. And I got this line that was drawn in at about the 42 and 3/4 mark, which represents resistance from this level here, 42.79. Then again at 43 1/3. Then again here at 43 1/2, 43.50 basically. And since that move from the 43.50, price action managed to retrace the next day to the 18 highs. And we can see, even though there's only a few lines here, but there was resistance from this little point. But key thing is it made that higher low. That's what I want to see it do when it makes a big move, is whereabouts of resistance area do you want to see it hold any next move. And in this case, it did pretty much exactly where you would want to, you do expect it to come back down to. And then you follow through on October 19th with the sideways pause day from that movement. And then it continues higher yesterday. And then just showing decent small green candle with the higher low and higher high for today's session. Looking at such on a 3-hour term time frame. This is what I call grinding your way up overall. Not only from this low in here, but as it broke above this 18 average of highs at the 2-hour time span on October 20th. Then it has managed to just find, make 2 higher highs and then continuously support this 18 average of lows. And now it's doing so very close to this line, this previous area. So if this thing is poised for a breakout, it looks like it could be poised to do so relatively soon. And breaking out above like 45.6, you got potential where this thing, I think, should at least move into decently into the 50s after any break above this level of resistance. Now it's time to bore you. This is PundiX and PXS on the daily term time frame, trading firmly and nicely amongst the 18 average. Vertcoin having lots of fun. It's in at 10,442, and it is firmly amongst this 18 average in a range-bound market. Dent is in at 33 Satoshi, and over the last several days has had a very interesting, fun, volatile ride of really staying in a range between 33 and 36. And changing it up a little bit, ZEC, which came down to this low here at 16, up to about 21 high, back down to 16, a little choppy. Overall, this code isn't quite as volatile, but has been in a decent downtrend. Now, the whole point of me showing these coins, the last few, at least the boring sideways ones, not saying they're good ones, but I am saying that they are coins that have shown very little decision lately as far as direction is concerned, and ones that have not had up moves. Now, of course, whenever you buy into something like this, oh, let's get into it because it's down so much at 19. You very easily could be right in the area. Maybe it doesn't go below 17.6 or 18, and it's good enough to say it's a good buy, and then it has a big rally up to like 34 and 50 and such. Well, that's magnificent. But then we could be saying weeks, maybe a month later, that this is 140 Satoshi or 140 basis points, 130 instead of 190, and thus a cheaper price could be coming later on. Next up, Steam. This has been just a sideways type of movement as well. We're trading within it, and this is crossed against a Binance coin. 81 handle low. Many hits at about 96. That's a difference right there of 20%. And it's had this one hit recently at about 10% above that number there. Last few days, it has basically done very, very little, as its volatility has a range of, say, we'll say 810 up to about, really even about 850. So you're talking about only 5% volatility amongst the last several days. Before then, there's just a lot of opportunities for these trades when we look at stuff like September 18th. And then going further, a situation of a low of about 74 and a high of 100. So that's a 33% volatility. Next day, a low of 80, a high of 91. So that's a differential of about 13-14%. So a lot of situations where you can get in and out of different markets and, again, either gain or lose your crypto account or your Binance coin, the Bitcoin value of such, the US dollar value and such, by getting in and out of portions of these coins. And again, with this, goes up or down next. Well, this thing could very easily, just like it did before, have a move, 12.6 up to 32, double. Okay, this could double up to 16 very easily, sure. And it could also fall down to 0.04, 0.05 as a possibility for its next move. Time, of course, will only tell as we move forward. We'll move on next to Ethereum crossed against Bitcoin. And after this long decline from its April Fool's high, moving from the 860 handle, falling down to 270. Since the 270 move, a rally up to 372. So we gain there of about 100 basis points, 30-ish%. But how has it corrected its move? Spent several days, many of which going symmetrical within the 18 average. Symmetrical is where you can draw an uptrend and a downtrend. And the size of these moves post this green candle, we look at a day like this, a high of 343 and a low of 335. That was like 2%. This day here that preceded the big red one, I mean, that was like a little over 1%. And the small moves are continuing as it has rallied from this big down move to the 18. So therefore, you've had a key move from the April Fool's high down. You've mainly went neutral within this move. This rally is nothing to write home about. And now it's either going to have to be a break of this resistance level and then breaking out above this point here. You're talking about maybe testing this level of resistance, or previous support rather, as resistance next at about the 547 handle. Even 550 handle, even just to, because it probably would break that, and it's an even number. But if you see momentum going down below here, I would expect a fast move to this previous support level here, around 278. And if it ends up breaking below that, we're in a situation where we've seen within the weekly key noticeable highs and lows. When we consider this low, these highs, this low, this high, this low, this high. Within this move, you got this and this. But now the question is this going to be the low? Because if it breaks this level of support, now you could be talking about this previous low or finding some sort of even higher low amongst here as your next questionable area. And the way I look at it, as far as this is like the main reason why I talk about this market as it's like the Magic the Gathering game, a two-player game where you switch turns. So from here, the bulls had their turn, then the bears, the bulls, the bears, the bulls, and overall the bears have been in control of this market since the January highs, although for a shorter term period the bulls were in control here. And at this stage, the bears in control, and we don't know if they are going to turn the dice over yet or not, or if they're going to continue going. For them to continue going, they have to make a new low. For them to turn the dice over, that means we have to work on getting a circle somewhere above here, whether it be this, higher, or wherever it is, thus a bull market run. And for that to happen, price action has to get above the 18 average of highs. And amongst something like the weekly term time frame, right now that is in at 44.3. And because of the sharpness of this decline, it could very easily do so on both a bullish and a bearish level. Bullishly, of course, because it's going to get there, then go higher, maybe to the 76, but just get above the 18 highs. And bearishly, because you resist a correctionary spot and then go lower, because if it happens, it's been such a large decline, it's got to do more than get up to what is now the 44 handle and then going to be going down to like 42 and so on before we can say that the market is out of the woods for being in this downtrend. But if you're playing the range game, you're like, okay, this market was over here, had this rally. If you have the mindset, I want to buy it if it comes back to it and then sell up in this area. Well, if that's the case, then you're in accumulation mode because it's in that area right now. And as far as Litecoin is concerned, we can pretty much be saying the same sort of things as well. We're looking at this on its weekly term time frame, which has had this long decline ever since its February highs, spending the majority of its time since leaving in May well below the 18 average. It recently had this small rally to really the 18 average of closes. If it's in the middle area, that would be that level. And since then is showing weakness amongst the 18. So the bears in control of the market down towards this area here, showing that maybe it could potentially come back down and test the 2017 lows. They come in at about the 55 handle. And if you're looking to be situations for buy low, sell high, the selling period in here, buying back some of it, selling some of, basically selling what you bought, and then buying what you just sold. Maybe selling part of what you just bought because you didn't get your sell order up here, and then buying just a little bit more in here to this low, and maybe you got a small sale, but in here any buys that you didn't get from in here, maybe you got a bit there, selling opportunities, buying, and then all that this has been is buying since. And maybe you're selling a small amounts here and there, but that's a spot where you might have like 50 different buy orders come in, 60, 70 different buy orders from this time frame, and you're only going to sell about 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 different times because the market's only doing one thing but going straight down. But what has Litecoin done every single time when it does find a bottom? This was a magnificent move higher. This was a magnificent move higher. And even this here, going back to 2015, had the magnificent move towards the upside. So those who are feeling back in here, man, you know what, it's over for Litecoin, it's no good. Well, they were flat out wrong. And I'm going to finish this video soon, as we're now at the 24-minute mark. Just go through a couple other quick charts to end it. First off, silver, which is, to me, it's part of the crypto because I can turn Bitcoin, Dash, Litecoin and such into physical silver. But it's been in a downtrend as well, down to 14.59, as we can see this on the weekly term. And just hanging in there amongst this previous level of support. So if you're, again, playing the game, trying to figure out where to put buy orders, as the market was in here, well, where was it before? Oh, about 1388. Well, how would have 1388 have held here? You'd have to go a little higher. You'd have to probably buy about 14 to get that buy. But any type of buying in this little area here, especially if you count this level point, ooh, maybe like 1420, because it was this support, this support, this support. And I don't want to go, and this is where buying at say 1420 versus 1388, you have to pay like a differential of like a percent or a couple percent more. But that was a spot where you could end up, okay, I can buy and then sell for like a 1.5% gain now. To me, long-term silver is something that I would not be surprised if it comes down here. I know JP Morgan is buying the shitload of silver themselves, and well, if they can control the spot price relatively effectively and they want to buy, would it be in their best interest for the prices to be in a downtrend or that of an uptrend? Because I know that, just like I talk about so many times, the bulls start their turn in here, up into here. And along the way, there was this. There was a little bit of volatility here, a little bit in here again. But the bulls overall had this turn, then the bears in here, the bulls, the bears, the bulls, and right now the bears have been in control ever since. Will it stop here? Maybe. But I realize if it does go down towards whatever low, that the pattern of up and down movements following each other will continue to go on. As well as the fact that fiat currency is something I don't trust. Long term, I would be very happy holding this, as major inflationary moves move within markets maybe in the next week, year, or even a decade. And the final one is self-key, as I talked about this recently before, and within such, or did I talk about this before? I don't think I did, but while we're here, interesting pattern as this thing has, on the 3-hour time frame, having a nice breakout above this this level. I just wanted to show another coin, but I'm just going to finish it off within this. This is part of the boring one, but quite frankly, short term, it looks like it might be possibly looking to break out. And even when it does, this is what I like about the situations where I don't care what happens when this happens, because I'm going to sell some here. If it goes up here, I'm going to have a seller here, here, here. I'm going to have a whole bunch of sellers. But if I'm selling here, I'm most definitely buying back here. So if it comes up here, I'm going to sell. And thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.